Hello, sports fans. Well, Bama able to make it through another weekend, standing the test of its competitors, going down to the final minutes of the game, the final half, the final play with Jalen Milroe at quarterback. Yes, Crimson Tide was able to see it through. But guess what? Ding, ding. Here comes the next challenge. Going up to Knoxville. Can Bama make it happen again? Yours truly, Coach Kevin Bull Jones here with you. If you enjoy the show, make sure that you subscribe. Want to talk some football, want to be able to talk about the coaching aspect of what's happened in the game last week and what's going to happen this Saturday. All right, let's jump to it. Okay, at home against a very good Texas A&M team. Everybody waiting for the rematch. Everybody want to wait for the anticipated showdown. Okay, yes, Texas A&M did come in ready to play. And yes, we did have some things that happened to turnovers that created a short field for the Bama defense. Now, here's the thing, sports fan. Everybody that's talked about it everywhere else can tell you what they think about Jalen Milroe. They can tell you what they think about Bryce Young. Let me tell you how it looks from a coaching aspect. As a coach, you want to make sure that the last thing you want to do is make your quarterback who has to start feel uncomfortable. So prepare for sudden change. Prepare for things to happen that are adverse. I think that Coach Saban does a masterful job of making sure that he communicates that, because in his ability to get the team ready for a game, they talk about all the situations that can occur. They even practice through various situations, down and distance. A turnover happens. What do you do with the ball inside your own 20-yard line if you have a turnover? What do you do if there's a big play? You give up a big play defensively. What do you do in times of difficult situations? That, to me, is the key element, or one of the key elements, that Coach Saban is able to articulate on a level. I'm not saying other coaches don't do it, but sports fans, y'all already know his ability to do it is on a totally different level. Okay. Yes, everybody in the country knows how fast Jalen Milroe is. Yes, he can throw the ball. Was he nervous to start his first collegiate game? Yes, he was. And guess what? It's called growing pains. Okay. Some players have them more than others. It just so happens that number 4 had him in a way that he took all the reps because he knew he had to play. He knew he had to start. But that still, until you go through it, until you have to open up the game as the starter, until you have to anticipate where to throw the football, who to throw the football to, how to read the coverage, how to set the blocking scheme, identify who is the rusher that's trying to get to you, and do we have somebody to block them, and can you get away from them and get the ball out your hands? Until all that happens, everybody can talk about what they thought about the game and why it happened the way they did. They can put down Jalen Milroe, which I think is absurd. You know, he's a young kid that had a chance to start in a SEC football game against a very good team. I'm not going to take anything away from them. You know, even though they were wounded at quarterback as well, their backup quarterback, the Haynes King kid, did a great job. He did the best he could do under his ability. Yeah, Bama defense got to him. Yeah, the pressure came. Marvelous job by Coach Golden. And yes, there were times where we did have to work from a shorter field. Okay, and that's the tough part of football. That's the ebb and flow of the game. Okay, you can't predict how it's going to go until it goes the way it goes. And then the ability to adjust, adapt, improvise, overcome. That's what it was all about. Secondary coverage, covering those kids. Some of those kids, those receivers for Texas A&M made great plays, great catches, all right, great throws. But standing the test of time of a whole 60-minute game, that's where Alabama prevailed. Everybody talking about the offensive line. I've told you all in some of my previous shows that give the offensive line time to gel. Okay, you really don't know what kind of offensive line you really have until they get about 3 games under their belt where they lathered up, and if they're able to come downhill. Listen, passing the ball is pretty. It looks good. It gets everybody cheering. It puts people in the stands, and everybody loves it. Okay, great commercials, highlights, ESPN. Everybody loves passing the game. But can I tell you all a secret? Offensive linemen like to run block. You show me an offensive lineman that he prefer to pass block instead of run block, and I'm gonna show you a $7 bill. Yeah, I don't have one, so that should tell you something. Offensive linemen like to run block. They like to get their hands on people and smash them and mush them in the ground. And they like to drive them into the ground. They call it pancake. Okay, let's go with it. Call it pancake. Call it whatever you want to call it for your team. But offensive linemen love to drive their opponent's bodies into the ground and hear that air come out of their body. They love it. That's the grind. That's what they love. It is hard as heck to kick slide, or should I say backpedal, whichever one you want to call it, as an offensive lineman, while you got a guy who's 60, 70 pounds lighter than you, who runs a sub 4.7, 4.6, some cases 4.5, he's running off the edge. And he's attacking the quarterback. It's tough. Only the special ones that play in the NFL and go in the top 2 rounds can do it. And then some people who also sneak in there that maybe they didn't go top 2 rounds, but only the special ones can do it. Everybody can't do it. And then you have to do it for a prolonged amount of time. So give the credit to the offensive line for University of Alabama. Give them the credit for what they were able to do in the game to take all the naysayers talking about they're not blocking well. Yeah, they have their trouble, but guess what? What makes Bama Teflon tough? And I told you all this was be a season where they would have to be road warriors. They'd have to go through that gauntlet. Okay, the gauntlet's starting. Ding, ding. Let's roll. It is what it is. Call it Roll Tide for a reason. So make sure that you get on your tough skin hat, because it's going to be tough days. Whether Bryce Young plays next game or not, doesn't matter. Everybody got to saddle up, be supportive of Jalen Milroe, and let's cheer him on. Now, the great thing about him starting a whole game, watch this, you all, and I haven't heard anybody else talk about it, but you know yours truly know the deal. Watch this. Jalen Milroe started a whole game as the quarterback. So now the offensive line has got a better read on what is his natural instincts in the pocket. See, before it was just practice, it's going against the number 2s on defense, and then he got mop up time in some games. But now against the dudes, when the game's on the line, offensive linemen know, left tackle knows. Maybe now when that defensive end or outside back or that rush backer runs that hump straight up field, maybe I have to take him. And before, sometimes if the quarterback steps up in the pocket, those defensive linemen take themselves out of the play. But because it's Jalen Milroe and his comfort level of getting rid of that ball or scrambling was not seen as quickly and felt in the game last week, maybe those offensive linemen are saying, you know what? He doesn't step up the way Bryce Young steps up, so now we got to adjust. Guess what? The offensive linemen get a week to adjust, be able to hold their blocks. And just like Coach Saban said, the receivers got to get open, okay? And number 4, you see green, take the hell off running. Tuck the ball and take off running. It'll be all right, sports fans. It'll be okay. Now, on to this Saturday's game. Yes, UT is waiting, licking their chops, foaming at the mouth, ready to deal with the Crimson Tide coming to town. 100,000 screaming fans. I don't know how many they hold. I'm sure somebody's going to send me in the comments how many people are going to be Tennessee fans in that stadium coming up. I appreciate you all commenting. And as you can see, I do make sure I respond back to you. But it's going to be a great game. Tennessee scares us defensively because of what they do. They spread us out, make sure those safeties have wider alleys to cover, and they make the adjustment. They count the people in the box, and they try to make sure that the inside zone that they run, I'm talking about Tennessee Vols, it's pretty profound because Hooker will keep the ball. Hendon Hooker will keep the ball, okay, and he will score, and he can run. So what has been, of course, the problem for Bama defense in the past? Mobile quarterbacks, okay? Guess what Bama has now? Bama has a cheetah package, They got them dudes when they put them on the field, everybody running sub 4.6, sub 4.6 or below on that front four, and they're gonna get after the quarterback. That's a special thing to have. Braswell stepped up. Hoping Jalen Moody gets healthy, so he'll be back in action. Henry Toho, great job last week of being able to play better football inside the box. And Chase, you identify what you are on the next level. You are a chaser. Okay, my bad for thinking you were a thumper. You're a chaser. That's all right. They get paid too. But at least you're able to do one part of those two things that either I'd like to identify linebackers, either thumpers, downhill dudes, or they're chasers. That means they sideline and sideline. Did a very good job last week. But let's get back to UT and talking about how they're going to attack Alabama's defense. They're going to turn around and, they had over almost 600 yards total offense last week. UT did. But, okay, they played LSU. They didn't play at Crimson Tide, baby. It's going to be a different story. Yes, we got to make sure that we don't break. We bend, but, we're going to bend a little bit, okay? But we don't break. The cat and mouse game, when they take the two receivers on each side of the field and they put them on both, they put them outside the numbers, okay, creating a gap. Secondary for Alabama just got to make sure they keep proper eye discipline. Be able to know that it's not all about four have to cover four or five guys cover four, okay? And don't take your eyes off your guys that could possibly, it's just a sucker move. They get you wide and spread it in space, and they try to determine what they think you're going to pick as your poison. Are you going to be preparing for the run, or are you preparing for the pass? Okay, are you worried about UT quarterback taking off running with the football? Well, guess what? It's going to happen. We just got to make sure that when we see a pass drop, we don't, if our inside backers are not in coverage or in that match coverage where they got to grab something crossing or vertical, we got to make sure those linebackers just keep their eyes and stay disciplined in their reads. If yours is the zone back, take the zone back to come to your side. And then whoever has backside has the quarterback, they got to fill those gaps and believe what you see because it's coming at you. I think that our defense will be ready. I think we're probably going to give them, I think we got some more looks we're going to give them in the front six and the front seven. How well we go into man coverage against these guys. There's going to be some opportunities. Every game, our secondary is gathering more and more confidence. Standout play by the safeties. They don't get enough credit. They're the unsung heroes. Nobody wants to talk about them that much because they're not making the ESPN plays. Well, that's because the front seven's supposed to do that, or the front six, however you want to flip it. Those guys are going to get that for right now. Okay, are they going to test Arnold? Yes. I'd test the freshman. Are they going to go at Kool-Aid a whole lot? He didn't get a lot of balls thrown at him last week. Okay, so listen. No, we don't play a lot of zone, but there'll be times when we throw in the zone. I think that Bama's going to do a great job of mixing it up, give different coverage pre-snap reads to be able to see what UT sees what we're going to do or what they think that we're going to do. It's going to be a great chess match. But at the end of the day, Bama defense is going to swell up inside that 25-yard line. And boy, when they swell up, it's going to be traumatic for the Vols. Yes. See, when you're preparing yourself to the destiny that you believe should happen, which everybody that's a Bama fan believes should be back SEC champions as well as national champions, there is a gauntlet to go through. And guess what? Will Anderson even said it. They're prepared for it. See, last year, back in Tuscaloosa, UT almost shocked, scared the world, scared the Bama family because they came out. Not necessarily caught Bama by surprise, but it is surprising until you see it over and over again. See, after you've seen it a couple of times, it's no longer surprise. Just like in the game, a throwback pass for a touchdown, it didn't work the second time. It only worked the first time. Trick plays usually don't work two times. But, hey, I'm just a high school coach, I guess the guys that get paid all that money didn't figure that one out. But anyway, let me talk about Bama's offense. Sports fans, I think that whether it's Bryce Young or it's Jalen Milroe, this was what I'm saying. Don't panic. The rushing game will be on point. You will see more clear and precise times where that offensive line, we run really well in our 12 personnel. Hopefully, we get into our 11 personnel and run, and then our 10 personnel, meaning one running back, no tight ends. And listen, give number 4 an opportunity to use his feet as quick as possible and make a decision, or check the ball down. If the receivers are not open, check it down to number 1. Goodness gracious. He is scary to any defensive coordinator that has to face him. Jahmyr Gibbs is all that. He really should be up for the Heisman. Okay, let's just go ahead and call it what it is. But let's not worry about the Heisman right now. Let's worry about the next game, this Saturday. UT's defense been doing a good job. Aaron Beasley, the Byron Young kid, doing a great job. They had 5 sacks last week. As a team, they had 5 sacks. Okay, good. They did a great job. Got Rodney Garner, Coach Garner used to be a stalwart defensive line gurus in the SEC. Does a great job with those young kids. They did a good job. It was LSU. No offense, but it was LSU. Okay, and let's see what happens against Crimson Tide. It's going to be a great game. I will say this, one strength that we have is our run game is incredibly stronger and more confident. Let's just give it to them in different formations. Allow Milroe to make quicker decisions. The greatest thing about this game of football, you win, you learn through your losses. I mean, not very good performance. When you don't have a good performance, that gives you more to learn, is what I'm trying to say. Even when you lose, and we didn't lose last weekend, but when you lose in your performance, you don't do as well as you think you should, you have more as a coach to talk about and get that player right for the next game. And if he believes in what he's doing, he believes in you, he's going to give it everything he got. So I'm telling you, this Saturday in Knoxville, see, going to Texas in Austin, 106,000 people, prepare Bama for the noise, prepare Bama for the crowd. See, so follow me, because this is going in an unparalleled direction. You know, the quest to be a national champion, you have to be a road warrior, Alabama. That's what it is, point blank, period. Sports fans, enjoy the journey, because it's going to be a beautiful ride. Hey, peaks and valleys. It's going to be a slobber contest. Okay, they're going to hit us in the mouth, and we definitely going to hit them in the mouth. Okay, and things do happen. Okay, but I'll tell you this right now. Bama is going to prevail, and it won't be close as last week. Yeah, I put it out there on the line. Welcome to watching Coach One Sports. I enjoyed it. You enjoyed the show. Make sure you comment. I am going to respond. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Love this Bama talk. Love this game coming up on Saturday. Roll Tide, roll. Have a great day.